Now, ahead of the news and the travel, all of us need to go to hospital, of course, at some point in our lives, either as a patient or visiting a loved one. It's one of the places you'd expect to be very accessible as a result of that, wouldn't you? But not so. Volunteers have taken part in a mystery shopping exercise looking into how easy it is to get around and navigate through a hospital for visually impaired people. 11 sites around the county were tested from December last year to March 2017. And Healthwatch Lancashire says the sample of hospitals chosen were those which have multiple departments, potentially making them more difficult to access. Well, let's get into this a bit more now. Mohammed Salim Patel from Blackburn is visually impaired and is known for the blind journalist. He joins us now and tells us about his experiences. Good morning. Nice to have you with us, Mohammed.
Good morning. Lovely to be on.
First of all, how regularly do you need to visit hospital then?
So as a visually impaired person, it's about probably 3 to 4 times a year minimum to just have consultant appointments, checkups. So it's kind of a second home.
Right. But you obviously come across problems when you do this then?
It's not even just going to the hospital, it's everything beforehand. So when that letter falls through your letterbox, it's not in a standard whereby I, as a visually impaired person, can read it. I rely on family members to tell me that, you've just had a letter through the post and this is when you have to go and at what time. Now, from that process onwards, it's for me a difficulty because even just getting to the hospital can be a difficulty. But even when you're there, the signs aren't well contrasted. Going into the actual ophthalmology clinic, they now use those touchscreen monitors to sign into the
of
hospital.
Course, which is no good for you, of course.
Which isn't, no. And sadly with cuts, there's less and less staff around to help out. So I think it is something that's overlooked. I think, sadly, a lot of people, when they think of disability, usually think of kind of wheelchair access and things like ramps and lifts. But I think visual impairment is one of the areas which is overlooked and which needs to be done about.
Yeah. Do you find people in general? You say there aren't that many staff these days who can help you, but do you find people in general are helpful, or do you find maybe they're a bit standoffish and are nervous to approach you because perhaps they feel that you'd be offended if they said, "Oh, mate, do you need any help?"
Yeah, I think it is a difficulty. I think for some visually impaired people that use a long cane or a guide dog, it's visible to others that this person is visually impaired and may need assistance. For others that don't feel comfortable using some kind of aid, it's more difficult for people to know that they need assistance.
And so, what would your message, Mohammed, be then to try and put this right? What would you say if they came to you and said, "Look, what needs to be done here"? What would you say?
Since August of 2016, it's a requirement of the NHS to provide accessible information. So they need to be implementing that. But I think the best way to do that is consult visually impaired people themselves, ask them what they need, and do it that way rather than just thinking, yeah, this will work, and it actually doesn't.
It's funny, isn't it? When you say it like that, it seems such an obvious thing to do. Just go and ask people who don't see too well and say, look, what needs to change? It seems so obvious, doesn't it? But
it does, yeah.
Anyway, well, we've said it on the radio, so hopefully that goes some way to helping.
Let's hope, yeah.
Mohammed, great to chat to you. Have a great day.
You too, thank you.
Cheers, bye-bye. Mohammed Salim Patel joining us on the programme this morning. It's just gone 7:30.
The county's radio station for travel.
BBC Radio Lancashire.